Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of the Gaming Gang. So welcome aboard. If this is your first time visiting, let me point out I spent about half the time talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and the other half the time, the second half of the show, usually talking about actually showing off unboxings for board games, or we'll page through some RPG rules, talk about different things. Tonight, I know I'm going back to back with miniatures rules, but it is a Wednesday. It is Wargame Wednesday. So we are going to be taking a look at Polyversal, which is from Colin's Epic Wargames. And we are going to take a peek at that in just a bit. So if you are new to the stream, kick back, relax, put your feet up. We're not performing rocket surgery here. We're just hanging out talking about tabletop gaming. Of course, if you are somebody who watches the stream all the time, thank you very much for joining me once again. I know, get to hang out with this knucklehead just rambling on and on. But I certainly do appreciate you taking time out of your busy lives to keep me company. Tonight is Wednesday, April 21st, 2021. This is live stream 652. That's right. So do want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the dispatch streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos as well, such as the 750th review on the Gaming Gang. Yes, it is Delta Green Black Sights from Arc Dream Publishing. And I liked it. I like some of the adventures more than others, but I did recommend picking that up. So by all means, check that out. I got some other reviews. They're in the hopper. They're not completely done yet. They're not completely baked. I guess yesterday was 420. I guess I could have rolled out the baked joke then, huh? Anywho. Yeah, so keep your eyes peeled. I've got quite a few reviews that are almost done. So should see some of those pop up the weekend at the latest. And, of course, do want to mention, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And finally, this is a live stream. So that means if you're watching, you can take part in chat. Chat's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So far tonight, looks like chat's off and rocking. Clint Gibson was first out the gate saying hello. The Madman's here. Sarah D is saying howdy to the gang. Gary Clarkson's got an opportunity to join us live. We got Beat Cafe as well. Flaming Huron's here. And I think that's everybody, at least at this point. So welcome, everybody. Welcome aboard. So before I jump into tonight's news, a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I saw that Mike Hobbs had passed away. I did not know Mike. I had only heard of him. I I I think he was better known across the pond, especially with Wargamers and miniatures gamers. And it was sad to see that. Just like John Vogel's here in chat, and he's offering some condolences. If you had watched last night's show, you already know this. If you missed it, my uncle passed away yesterday. So, yeah, there was that. So it did not come as a shock. I'm not going to rehash that. I talked about it last night. But next week might be a little odd as far as how the stream works. But we'll find out. We'll find out. I'll talk about it when I get to that point. So, but want to send my condolences out to Mike Hobbs' family and friends. Very, very sorry to hear of his passing. And I believe it was very quick. It was not some lingering ailment or anything like that. So Malwinius from York and Kevin R. Smith are joining us as well. Good to see you both. All right, something else from yesterday's show. I didn't notice this, but I had something on my table. So if you go back, what was it, episode 500, I gave you a tour, a bit of a behind-the-scenes tour of the Duct Tape Studios. Although there is no duct tape holding anything together anymore. But in the beginning, there was. And you know that I have an overhead camera, and I also have a camera that's shooting me right now, this moment. This is the one that's shooting me now is a Sony a6000. And I didn't realize that I had something on the table that was up against, it's essentially what the camera sits on is a like an entertainment stand almost for television, because that's what I use as my monitor, and my teleprompter is a 44-inch TV. Yes, 4K, baby. Yeah. Which is funny because it's like higher resolution than the TV I watch upstairs. And I hardly use this, right? Duh. Anyway, so something was like up against it. So when I would kind of bump the table that I, shoot the overheads onto and stuff like that, it was bumping the camera right there. So, every once in a while you'd see, I didn't know. I apologize, everybody. I am very sorry, because I took a peek at the stream. I usually just watch a few minutes of it to make sure that the sound is all right and things like that. And every once in a while it would just go, and I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, that's driving me nuts. So I apologize. All right. So without further ado, let's jump on into the news, because I got a good amount of news tonight. We're going to have a pretty packed show. So we're going to jump right on in, because coming this summer, there's a revamp of the classic board game Galaxy Trucker coming from Czech Games Editions. And I've got the dope. In this fast and goofy family game, 2 to 4 players begin by simultaneously rummaging through the common warehouse, frantically trying to grab the most useful component tiles for building their spaceship, all in real time. Once ships are launched, players will encounter dangerous situations while vying for financial opportunities, each hoping to gain the most valuable cargo and finish with as much of their ship still intact as possible. Of course, that's easier said than done, since many hazards will comically send pieces of your ship, your cargo, and your crew hurling into the depths of space. The goal is to have the most credits at the end of the game. Players earn credits by delivering goods, defeating pirates, having the best looking ship, and reaching their destination before the others. So what's new in this Galaxy Trucker relaunch? Well, there's amazing new art and enhancements. The relaunched edition of Galaxy Trucker features a full graphical overhaul with charmingly redesigned art, as well as card balancing tweaks, more ship tiles, and nicer astronaut and alien tokens. There's a faster, more accessible experience here, We've streamlined the core gameplay loop into one single flight to deliver a faster moving game that's easier for players of all ages to enjoy. And there is more depth if you want it. For veteran players who want a longer experience, the Transgalactic Trek offers an epic 3-flight campaign to satiate your thirst for galactic long hauling. Plus, it's got a smaller box and lower price. Don't usually hear that. Galaxy Trucker is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays in around 30 minutes. This lower MSRP is $29.95. I think it used to be $50. And it's going to hit stores this summer. I will probably get an opportunity to check this out, I think, because they had reached out about reviewing this. So the Madman's pointing out that they've got the old version. Elliot reviewed Galaxy Trucker for the Gaming Gang way back in the day. I think it was like 2011 or something like that. I have never played it. If I remember right, and yes, Melwinius is asking if this is isn't it Vladil Chivadil? Something his first and last name sort of kind of rhyme almost. But yes, it is. It is the same guy who did the design for Mage Knight, which Elliot did not really care for as a multiplayer game. He liked it better as solitaire. I know. It's like, that's why he's not with us anymore. You don't like Mage Knight? Get out. Actually, I've never played it, so I took his word for it. Anyway, so yes, this is going to be coming out this summer. I have to ask, isn't this the game that has the soundtrack? And that's how you time the game? Where I have to assume it's an MP3 now. But I thought maybe it had a cassette or something before. And it plays like a 30-minute track. And maybe I'm thinking of something else. But for some strange reason, I thought it was Galaxy Trucker. So maybe I'll have an opportunity to check this out. I've always heard it's fun. This is supposed to be a really fun game. So, it's supposed to be a riot when your ship starts falling apart. So... All right, on to the next news piece. There's an interesting looking worker placement game that's up for crowdfunding for CrossCut Games. I've got the latest on Transmissions. Based on the lovely illustrated world of Matt Dixon, Transmissions brings his world of mechanical friends to life in the game. Players share robots as workers moving around a rondel-styled board, collecting engrams and electricity. These are used to gather ideas to improve your use of the robots or items to score points at the end of the game. You can also build your own set of connected flowing pipes while gathering birds and butterflies to score even more points. The game ends when there are no ideas left. Don't all games end when nobody has any ideas left? A player's robots are complete or no pipes remain to be built. After an equal number of turns, the player with the highest total score wins. The game features a unique mechanism of worker selection and sharing with incredible illustrations, adorable miniature robots, and very welcoming play for everyone. There is a short video, and I mean short. It's about 40 seconds long, but this will give you a better feel for the game. So let's take a peek. Told you that was a short video. Man, it was short. Transmissions is nearing the 300% funding mark. You can reserve a copy of the base game, which does not include the miniature robots. It has standees. As you can see, these are the painted miniature robots. They do not come painted. They're not painted. So you can get the base game for $40 with the standees, or you can score the deluxe edition that includes those cool looking robot minis for a $54 pledge through May 7th. Expected delivery is January of next year. I wanted to share this because I love the art style. I really, really dig the artwork here. This looks like this could be a relatively clever game without being overwhelming. So, kind of curious. It's for 2 to 4 players. And if I remember correctly, I think it's for ages 12 and up. I forgot to jot that down. But could be a lot of fun. Plus, like I said, really, really dig the art style to this. All right, so we've got Nicholas Stanishek has popped in to join us. Good to see you, Nicholas. Glad to see you could make an opportunity to hang out live tonight. So, according to the Madman, his edition of Galaxy Trucker has a little hourglass, or as I always refer to them, they were always egg timers, right? So I know that's I'm old school. Yeah, that's an egg timer. You're making eggs, you flip it on over. But yes, I know it's an hourglass. All right. Anyway, there is a new bundle of holding that's arrived. I've got the skinny Adventurer. This all-new Dungeon Crawl Classics bundle brings you you guessed it, Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game from Goodman Games. Dungeon Crawl Classics captures the glory days of tabletop fantasy role-playing with a modern, fast-playing rules system grounded in the origins of sword and sorcery. This bargain-priced offer presents PDF ebooks of the comprehensive DCC rulebook and an array of modules that carry your characters from the Starless Sea to the Cannibal Kingdom and beyond the Black Gate. For just $14.95, you get all 4 titles in this offer's starter collection as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete 506-page Dungeon Crawl Classics rulebook, the Gen Con tournament module, the Black Heart of the Kulan the Undying, and the introductory funnel scenario, Sailors on the Starless Sea, as well as the DCC Judges Screen. If you pay more than this offer's threshold price of $29.97, you'll level up and also get the entire bonus collection with 6 complete modules for characters levels 1 through 6, worth an additional $42, including the Queen of Elfland's Son, Moon Slaves of the Cannibal Kingdom, the Star Wound of Abaddon, Emrakul was framed beyond the Black Gate, and imprisoned in the God Skull. You can score these savings through May 10th. 10% of your payment after payment gateway fees for this offer will be donated to the charity designated by Dungeon Crawl Classics designer Joseph Goodman, a.k.a. of Goodman Games, and it is the San Francisco Marine Food Bank. That is something new. It is a different charity than we're used to seeing. It's usually direct relief, and I have nothing against direct relief, but I like to see, hey, come on, spread the wealth a little bit here. So Flaming Heron says, more Dungeon Crawl Classics. I know, it's weird, right? It's like, I ordered the first time fan kit. Although I got to admit, I still have heard nothing about that shipping out. And that bothers me. So I don't know if Goodman Games just doesn't bother telling you if they ship something out. But you figure today is Wednesday. I ordered it on Saturday. You'd think I got an email saying that their goblins were going to be working on it like 5 minutes after I ordered it. We'll find out. We'll see. We're going to have some Dungeon Crawl Classics reviews coming up. I can tell you that much because I'll be reviewing the core book as well as the adventure. I want to say Doom of the Savage Kings is the title of it. I keep trying to pull that off the top of my head. All right. So there is some discussion about Lasting Tales by Blacklist Games. I am not familiar with that at all. It's Nicholas says it's got something like 400 miniatures with 2 sets, including their stretch goals. Huh. Interesting. I might have to take a peek unless it's like running out. So Kevin is asking if the Lankmar bundle is any good. I don't know. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. That is a news piece for tomorrow. And you know what? We'll chat a little bit about that after I finish up the news. So Kevin says, I can never have too many chances to talk about Zaki dice or Zachi dice. See, right there, I mispronounced it right off the bat. Yes, that's what it is. I can never have too many chances to completely mispronounce Lou's last name. I'm just going to say game science from now. I'm just going to say weirdo game science stuff. All righty. Let's continue talking about role-playing games because now available in print from Mousehole Press is Orbital. Here's the deets. Orbital gives us airlocks and control panels, pensive faces looking out into the cosmos, improvised fixes for mechanical systems, military-sponsored subterfuge, warm embraces in the cold vacuum, frantic struggles in zero gravity, and unknowable ancient technology asking, what do you do next? Imagine an all-consuming interstellar war spread across a vast galaxy and involving trillions of willing and conscripted participants. Then imagine a lone space station floating in the cosmos that is somehow set apart from this conflict. Through significant effort and fortuitous circumstance, this place has remained unaffiliated and relatively peaceful, providing a sanctuary for the lovers and thinkers who refuse to side with the two warring powers. But in this hard-won neutrality, it's not secure, not even slightly. There's always someone offering vital resources in exchange for a little influence, or plotting to displace our leaders, or smuggling military equipment into forgotten corners of the station. Holding off these myriad threats is an informal network of dependable sorts, each with a stake in the continuing vitality of the station. These characters, politicos, artisans, brokers, and so on, may not be officially recognized leaders, but their influence is felt strongly across the community. They might not get along, they might not even like each other, but they are united by their belief that the station is a cherished place that must be protected. The question is, when the pressure is rising, can they put their differences and personal motivations aside for the good of the community? The 28-page Orbital is available in PDF, which includes an MP3 soundtrack for $12. You can get it in print as an A5 digest-sized book for approximately $18, which also includes the PDF. I'm pretty sure it also includes that soundtrack. Not positive, but I'm pretty sure. And the reason why I say it's approximately $18 is because as far as I can tell, the physical digest book comes from England. So it comes from across the pond. So there is the exchange rate that fluctuates all the time. So Gary Clarkson says, Dungeon Crawl Classics always looks good, but loving basic fantasy. Oh, yeah, basic fantasy is great. It completely different games, completely different styles. Even though basic fantasy does try to draw upon an OSR feel, they're completely different. We'll talk about it when I do the review for Dungeon Crawl Classics because I finished the core book. I've read through the whole thing twice. All right, let's move on to our last news piece. Oh, actually, before I do that, I had to say I wanted to share this because this looked interesting. And I am a firm believer in, I know this sounds kind of odd to say it this way, but you know what I mean. I always like to throw a bone out to, some of these smaller publishers, some of these little indie studios when they're producing stuff that looks kind of cool. And I'm sure there's people out there thinking, geez, Jeff's old school. How come he's sharing what sounds like a storytelling game? I've said it before. I said it last night. I'm not here to talk about you're having wrong fun. If something catches my eye, I share it. I like to share it. Plus, I'm not that old school where it's like, oh no, it's only THACO or nothing. So, all right. Available in PDF from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment is a new supplement for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Age of Sigmar Soulbound. Just laugh when I have to, but that just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Age of Sigmar Soulbound. I've got the scoop on Refuge of the Realm. The last safe places in the mortal realms are falling. While Sigmar gathers his strength in high-walled cities, raging wars and senseless magical catastrophes consume the sanctuaries beyond. The refuges that still stand have used strange and extreme methods to survive. And while there may be safety within, these places often bear little resemblance to the free cities. Refuges of the Realms presents 9 refuges to use in your campaign, as well as items, stat blocks, and adventure hooks to support these new locations. These refuges include not only the forces of order, but also death and destruction subfactions who don't mind crossing allegiances for their own benefit. And even the most inhospitable lands, the party can find allies, but they must fight hard if they want these sanctuaries to last. The 16-page PDF is available right now at Drive-Thru-RPG. Carries an MSRP of $3.99. Very nice, very nice. I got to say, Cubicle 7 has done a really nice job supporting the Soulbound role-playing game line. Really, really nice job. So I got an email from Cubicle 7. So I've got some physical books on the way. Yes, it looks like they finally got their new printer all, running, hopping along. So I've got Power Behind the Throne, the second chapter of the Enemy Within campaign. Yes, going to be sharing that review pretty quickly after I get it because I've already read the PDF, as well as the Power Behind the Throne companion and I think another Soulbound book. So pretty cool. So Kevin R. Smith says, THACO, true Grognas use combat matrices. Mathematical formulas are for wimps. Yes, I remember those. The matrix. Oh, so I'm a fighter, so I got to look at this chart over here. Oh, you're a cleric. Got to look at that chart over here. So, pretty funny, pretty funny. A grade A has arrived to join us in chat as well. So, got some goodies today, and I will show you those in just a second. But if you're wondering what's coming up on tomorrow's show as well as into next week, and keep in mind, Monday and Tuesday, there's an outside chance that there will not be shows on Monday and or Tuesday. I don't know. We're going to find out because my uncle's funeral is going to be on Monday. And then, as I mentioned before, I have an appointment in the city Tuesday afternoon. And I don't live near Chicago. I am in a suburb of Chicago. They consider it the far western suburbs. So, don't know. Fingers crossed. I think I don't foresee both nights not having streams, but we'll find out. So on tomorrow's show, which we know will happen, knock on wood, I am going to take a first look and page through Jackals, the Bronze Age role-playing game from Osprey Games. This looks kind of cool. I've been hearing some good things about it too, so we will take a peek at that. Nicholas is offering his condolences. Thank you very much. Definitely appreciate that. So that is on tomorrow's show. On Monday, or whatever day I have the next stream after tomorrow, we're going to take a look at the Rat Catcher, as well as the extra goodies that arrived in that box I showed you yesterday. So we're going to take a look at the core game. We're going to take a look at the special, like, rat meeples, the little expansion that comes with it. There's a bunch of buttons. There's a bunch of cool stuff that's in the box. There's also a mouse pad material dice tray. So this is a solitaire game. So, and you are essentially a rat catcher. But it's not just regular rats, because there's, I guess, the city is famous for their cheese, but their cheese has, like, I don't know, maybe it's radioactive or something. It's got special properties, so the rats feast on it, and it changes them. So Sarah D says they consider everything east of the Iowa border a far western suburb. Says she lived 3 hours west of Chicago, and when a tornado hit, that's what all the news stations called them. Funny enough, my best friend Elliot Miller, his mother and his brother live right on the border of Iowa, right off of I-80. And I have no idea why. I've driven that stretch umpteen times when I would deliver RVs around the country. So if I were heading, say, LA way, well, more San Francisco. If I was going like San Francisco, or of course, if I were heading to like Seattle or something like that, always took 80. So yes, I know there's not much. There's not a whole lot west of Chicago. So Nicholas says radioactive cheese. That's how you get your Peter Parmesan, the amazing Cheddar Man. Yes, and he shoots like Velveeta. He's got Velveeta shooters. All right, so that'll be a Monday show. I received Monster Exposition. No, I'm sorry. It's Monster Expedition from Amigo Games today. So this arrived. I had to laugh because this came in a huge box. And I was like, oh, this must have come from a distributor, because normal people don't ship out stuff. So you see the size of this box, right? So the box that came in was like four times the size of this. I was like, what in the world's in this box? And I opened it up. I'm like, because I knew this was coming. And I was like, what the, who uses a box like this big? No joke. Like that to ship this. Anyway, but I really enjoyed Monster Carnival, which was a Richard Garfield design, and this takes place in that same setting, and it is not a Richard Garfield design, but all the players are like going out on expeditions to catch these creatures. So it's got pretty cool art. I like the artwork from that as well. So that should be on Tuesday's show. On Wednesday's show, we're going to do another War Game Wednesday. I'm going to unbox and take a first look at French and Indian War from Worthington Publishing. So we are going to take a peek at this. I have reviews of Cowboys in Magnificent Style, as well as Bulge 1944 on the horizon. So those are coming shortly. And then next Thursday, because I love my role-playing games, we're going to take a first peek and page through Reign of Terror for Call of Cthulhu from Chaosium Inc. This arrived today as well. And I've got some other Call of Cthulhu goodies. But we're going to take a look at that first because I also received the 2-volume Horror on the Orient Express. These are the 2 volumes here. And I understand Reign of Terror ties into this. Now, if I remember correctly, because I read Horror on the Orient Express 15 years ago, maybe more than that. And I do recall there is like a flashback in it to the French Revolution. So I'm wondering if that's expanded more in Reign of Terror. We'll find out. Plus, does love forgive? What's love got to do with it? No, it's does love forgive, which are one-on-one scenarios for Call of Cthulhu. There are 2 adventures in this book, so we'll be looking at those as well. So I know on yesterday's show, I was talking about Not Alone and the 2 expansions. This is one of the expansions. I was going to do that on Tuesday. I pushed that back because Not Alone's been out for a while. It's been out for a few years, whereas Monster Expedition is brand new. This is a brand new game, so I'm going to jump into that. So the Madman has said they've never played any Call of Cthulhu, but it's really caught his interest. It's my role-playing game of choice, to be honest. But then again, I like to, do spooky stuff. So I believe the Madman tuned in for the live actual play that I did for the, we didn't do a Extra Life charity event this past November, but the November before that. And that was not a typical Jeff McAleer run Call of Cthulhu game. It was a bit sillier and lighter because, I didn't know who's watching. So you never know. All right. So Melwinia says they've got Worthington's French and Indian War, and they feel that it is a good game. Fast to play, easy rules. There is a solo option. Nice. A Great A mentions that Dungeons Deep RPGs podcasted to run. A Great A's at it again. He's sitting there promoting other people's podcasts and shows and stuff like that. It's like an everyday thing. Man, what is with you, dude? I don't care. Said that they're doing Horror on the Orient Express. So, and they're on episode 20. I gotta say, I know there's been changes and things like that. So Great A says, I'm not promoting. I'm sharing the love. Yeah. It didn't float my boat as much as other big campaigns for Call of Cthulhu. Obviously enough, like Masks of Nyarlathotep. But also I want to say it's Beyond the Mountains of Madness. I think that's a pretty damn good campaign as well. Now, the 2-volume set that I got is not like the slipcase set for Massive Nyarlathotep. It is not completely revamped or anything like that. It is actually the 2014 edition that they had kickstarted back in the day. So Kevin says one of his old groups started out on Horror on the Orient Express, but the game petered out around Paris and thinks that they were getting into the references to the Reign of Terror. I am not going to float out any spoilers, but I seem to recall it was like a flashback. So Great A says, just think about how many places I mentioned the Gaming Gang content. I don't know where you go, Great A. I have no idea. So Kevin says, maybe I don't like being railroaded. Yeah, but it's Call of Cthulhu Adventure. Call of Cthulhu Adventures are, I don't want to necessarily say railroads, but there is a certain plotting and things like that. There are no such things as good Call of Cthulhu adventures that are sandboxes. Just don't exist. All right. Anyway, so today I am going to be taking a look at Polyversal, which is a 6mm science fiction uh, miniatures rule set. Why did I blank? Pinky just came down here, and you may not have heard it, but she was like, wow. Yes, Pinky the cat. One of the two cats. It's not my cat. Smokey's my cat. Anyway, I'm going to be taking a look at that in just a second. If you are watching live, we're going to dive in just a tick or two. If you're watching after the fact, like 12 hours or more after this streamed, you're going to be seeing a commercial right now. So just bear with it, and we'll jump on into it in a sec. All right, so Polyversal is from Collins Epic Wargames. It's written by Byron Collins and Ken Whitehurst, with artwork provided by James Messino, Bruno Wernick, Carl Olson, and Mark Von Marshall. It carries an MSRP of the softcover book we're going to take a look at. Is available for $34.99. It is from Wargame Vault, so that's where you got to get it from. It is a print on demand, and of course, you can get it in PDF for $25. You can get it, get both together for, I want to say it's $44.99. I will talk about that as we wrap up taking a look at this book. So, a Grade A says, Jeff, as a comic fan, did I get in on the Marvel X-Men Kickstarter game? No, I did not. It's Cool Mini or Not. I have no interest in their stuff. None whatsoever. And I have really no interest in promoting their Kickstarters either. So, yeah, or if you're talking about Marvel X-Men United, and I know there are a lot of people who are like, oh, we played Marvel United. It's really good. Yeah, that's fine. It's just, yeah, CMON is not my bag of tricks for a few different reasons that I'm not going to go talk about in public. So, anyway, that's why you almost never, but it's been a long, long time since I've talked about any Cool Mini or Not Kickstarters or upcoming releases or anything like that. I mean, one of the main reasons is they don't need my help. And you know what? I'll go back for a sec. What I will say, like, I don't have anything personal against anybody with the company, and that I really don't know anybody who works for them. And I'm sure the people I talked to way back in the day, who I did not care for, are probably no longer with them. But what I find with most of the Cool Mini or Not Kickstarters is that they're all the rage. Oh my gosh, people are so excited. Oh, and they got to get in on it, and they spend loads of money because they got to get everything for it, right? So they're shelling out $300-$400 for a game, and then eventually, Cool Mini or Not releases that game. People get it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty good," and it's the sort of game that never comes off the shelf. So that's one of the reasons why I really don't share. And yes, I know the Marvel United stuff looks to be different, but so Disavow says too much FOMO. I'm gonna miss out. Oh my gosh! It's like all the people out there who like freak out that there's so much streaming entertainment that oh my gosh, they're gonna miss something. It's like, geez, get a grip. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, that's really the main reason why I don't. And I know the Cool Minis have cool minis, but to me, from what I hear from other people, they invest a lot of money in these games, and then they almost never make it off their shelves after one or two plays. And once again, like I said, CMON doesn't need any help from me. So, all right, that's what I'll talk about publicly. All right, let's get back with it. So, we're going to be taking a look at Polyversal. Let's swing on over to the other camera. And no, it's okay, Grade A. You didn't necessarily hijack the show. It's like, no, sorry, that's it. We're all done. I don't have any time left to show you Polyversal now because we were talking about Cool Mini or not. All right. So Grade A says, don't tell anyone, but he is not a Marvel fan. I'm a comic fan. I lean towards Marvel, but when I used to collect comics or just read comics, I read everything. Dark Horse, Image, DC, Marvel. I've mentioned it before. My favorite comic of all time is Strangers in Paradise. So Disavout says they have some of the same issues about Simon Games too. So, all right. So we're going to jump on in here. This took a long time to finally come out. I'll be the first to admit I interviewed Byron in 2017 at Origins, and we talked about this. And this was already something that was in the works. It had not hit Kickstarter yet, but it took a while to get out. And I think part of the reason is, as John Vogel's calling it a night. Good to see you, John. See you next time. So I think the problem that Byron ended up having was that because he had so many different miniature manufacturers on board for the Kickstarter, they all had to fulfill to him. And I believe that was part of the problem. So we're going to start off with a bunch of the backers. So I don't remember a whole lot about this game. It's kind of a near future. And I know there's still like, it takes place on Earth because there's still like a United Nations forces and stuff for that. As Melania says, one of their favorite comics is The Quest for the Time Bird. That I am not familiar with. So here you go. From 2065, 2091 is a new golden age. And then we have some anomalies. The Great Divide of the United States in 2092. Sure, you're not talking about that 2016? All right. So it looks like 2094 is when we get into the nitty gritty. So like I said, it's relatively near future. So we got the designer note, publisher's note, talk about the miniatures. I will actually share some of the minis that Byron had sent me because I actually ran some advertising for this Kickstarter. And people used to email me and they'd be asking, oh, hey, what's going on with that Kickstarter? You know, we've been waiting forever. And I'm like, dude, it's like I shared some ads, folks. I have nothing to do with it. So as you can see, we've got various different dice, and the dice mean different things. They're used for different weapons. We have these tiles for the units as well that are actually pretty cool. So I also got a bunch of dice that Byron had sent me. And as you can see, they're color-coded. So if they're 8-siders, they're yellow, blue 4-siders, red 12-siders, orange 10-siders. So kind of cool. So this is, once again, this is just a page through. I don't recall a lot of info about this because, like I said, it's been a while. But this is kind of the way you set up like the organization of your combatants. So this is designed for 6mm minis, and it is a 1-to-1 scale. So it's got an overview, selecting and organizing your units. So we're looking at setup. It's like balance points. We get into the game turn. So we have 5 phases. We've got the issue orders, determine initiative, activate units within command range or pass, which looks like phases 2 and 3 are repeated. until all units within command range and all elite units have been activated or players pass. Then we have phase 4 is activate units out of command range and the end phase. So I'm going to take a stab that phase 4 might be, and we've seen this in some other miniatures games as well. Mel Winnies is out of here as well. Good to see you, Mal. We'll see you next time. Hopefully you get a chance to check out the rest of this if you're interested in Polyversal. But I sort of get the feeling where this might be one of those games where if like your reserves and things like that aren't like part of the action, that phase 4 might be where you're kind of like trying to move them up. So it's kind of it's separate than the actual combat. I've seen that with some games. So I have different markers as well. So we're going to get into command and control. Pretty good artwork in this. Pretty cool photography. I will say that as you can tell, the pages are like flat. They do not have like a treated sheen on them like many books do. But of course, this is a print on demand from Wargame Vault. All right, so then we got terrain and movement. What I'm curious about is the attack of the Dixie Cubs. Because we have these tiles. And I'm not sure if the tiles are in this book or not for the units. I'm assuming that they are, and that you would have to print them out. But I had thought in the actual Kickstarter that the tiles were actually produced and you got them, not that you had to print them out and make your own. I got to be honest, I don't know what kind of support Polyversal is going to get. I had the impression, and this is just me, I don't know this for a fact. This is just me. I had the impression that by the time this finally was fulfilled, that Byron Collins probably needed a huge break. So I think that's the case. So we are going to take a peek at some of the minis that I had gotten sent along. And it was kind of funny because I got the miniatures long before I got this book, because the book was out in PDF for quite some time, but the actual physical book, I don't think has been available for that long to be ordered as print on demand. Maybe a couple of months. So we'll see. So we're in ranged combat here. Assault combat. So this should be firefights and that. I'm curious. Oh, look at that. So they are little 6mm figures. I bet you those are on pennies. I bet you those are pennies as far as the bases there. I used to play 6mm with Warhammer Epic. Warhammer 40K Epic, I should say. I enjoyed that game. Man, those minis were expensive, and they got way more. Way more. So Grade A says that they're pretty sure you can buy hex blanks from the website to make your own. Yeah, I remember Byron telling me about that. But like I said, I'm curious as to the actual hexes. We'll get to it in just a bit. So we've got design of the different units. So we've got movement allowances. Colossal vehicle movement. So you can build your own units as well in this here too. I thought we had different factions though. And I don't think that's a separate book. So Grade A says there's a box with minis and hex tiles, and it's $180. That's available from Collins Epic Wargames. So this is what I'm talking about. These hexes that have all the unit information on it. And I know that was a huge deal with the game. As we saw, there's, when you're building the units as well. So let's see. So there's just all these different weapons. Okay, so we got an example vehicle design. Buildings. Now we're not going to have it. Man, that is... Hey, no offense to Ken and Byron, that's kind of lame. You figure this is a $35 book, and you are not getting any of the units. You're not getting any of the factions in here. This is essentially the rules on how to play the game, how to create your own units. But as you can see, we're running across like all of these. So I don't know. That, like I said, kind of lame in my book. So anyway, so a Grade A says you can order it from the Polyversal website, not the Collins Epic Wargames site. They're kind of the same. So that is Polyversal. If you want, I got a box here. I'll be the first to point out, I have not looked at any of these minis, because I didn't have the book until fairly recently. So I know some of these are buildings that were sent. We're not going to look at them all, but I want to give you an idea of the kind of units we're talking about. And I also have to point out that I cannot zoom in, because when I do my page throughs, I swap out, I change up the lens. This is a manual lens. This is not an autofocus lens. And for me to actually zoom in, I would have to lower the overhead camera. So, yeah, looks like these are not assembled. Okay, so looks like those are some bases. I'm not sure if you're really going to be able to see very well. So we have, these are some of the, let's see. So these are some of the air units. These are kind of cool. These kind of remind me of the airships from Terminator. So there's 3 of those. We got some bases in there. And as I mentioned, these all came from all these various different miniature companies. So that's why it took so long for the full Kickstarter to fulfill, is because Byron had to wait for various different companies to fulfill their orders that he had placed. So we've got some tank units. I mean, it looks like there's a bunch of miniatures. I'll be the first to point that out. Let's turn these around, because I have a few bags of these. So pop the turret in there. So if you're curious, like I said, this is, all right, come on. These are 6mm. These are 6mm figures. They are, if you are a micro armor type of person. I know that's kind of a blast from the past. These are larger than micro armor. So these look like hovercraft here. And they have turrets that go on as well. So that's kind of cool. Now, keep in mind, this is just one of the little kind of wrapped up, just like so, that are in the box. And I've got a few of these all together. So this is a building. I know that, I can tell, but that's a building. So altogether, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these with all these various miniatures in them. I think we got some 6mm figures, some actual troops in this bag as well. So we got those. What are these? And when I said, hey, it's kind of lame that we didn't get the hexagon, I'm not trying to, come down on Byron. But, I mean, I gotta be honest, I'd be expecting to be able to play the game kind of like from the book, right? That you would have something with the book. Now, it's possible. I have not gone over to the Polyversal website in a long time. It's possible those are available as, free downloads. Because to be honest, you can't really use them unless you got the rules. Right. So I'm not sure what these are. I think these might be kind of like hover. I don't know. Or maybe they go like that. I don't know. So that's those. Now let's see. And these are probably what the square. Yeah. These are what the square bases are for. So these are the units. And they almost look like they're in kind of like spacesuits. So Disavowed says, Micro Armor, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. We used to play, was it Tractics? It was a box set, almost like a box set like old D&D or original D&D. These are kind of cool. I do notice there's a good amount of flash on these that, especially when you're looking at 6mm, you got to be real careful getting that flash off because it's super easy to, like break an arm or something off of here. But as you can see, I mean, these miniatures are pretty cool looking. So remember, we got those. We got some more of these hover tanks in here. We got the bases for the troops. And that was just one of the 5 bags of miniatures. And I think, let me double check. I'm not positive, but this was also included in the box that Byron had sent me. So we have the UN Quick Reaction Force, which is exactly what we're looking at. All right, so wait a second. So these go like... Okay, so I see that. And these are the legs. Oh, I get it. Okay. So one on each side. So I'm like, okay, now I get it. So this actually is kind of a walker. These are the ocelots. Okay, so that's what's in this baggie. I can tell you right now, this is exactly what's in this baggie. It's the UN Quick Reaction Force. Then we have the OP4 Minutemen. So that's no doubt in another baggie. We've got the UN Peacekeepers. These are pretty big. Those look pretty cool. And there's their little individual infantry. Then we got the OP4 Texas Militia. So what, is Texas trying to leave the Union? I remember there was a famous novel I used to see. This was probably, I was a small kid. 75, 76. So that means I was like 8, 9. And it was all about Texas, seceding from the U.S. and the big war breaks out. And I remember I kept seeing it and in bookstores alongside Carrie, which was the bestseller too. Right. So then here, this is another group. This looks like they're German. So the problem I see now, once again, this is just the first look, right? This is not a review. I'm going to have to take a look at the Polyversal website. But the thing is, I would like to have the hex, the stat hex for these units available. And I wonder if that's something that's on the Polyversal website. I would hope it's not something that you have to go and purchase. And they are not in this box. They are not in the box that I got, because that was something that I had peeked at, because that's a building. This is another building with some units. And then, of course, I showed you we had the other ones. So this looks like it's a cool game. When I got to check it out, I think the first time I saw Polyversal was actually at the Gamma Trade Show. It was still in Vegas. It was still being held in Vegas. And I went, and of course I saw Byron. I was like, wow, what are you doing here? And he was doing demos of it coming to Kickstarter. And then, of course, he was at Origins. I think he was also at Gen Con one year, kind of off, kind of like way off in the back, demoing as well. So this looks like a very cool game. Just I'm kind of curious about the whole units. I'll find out, because I will have a review of Polyversal in the very near future. All right, so that is it for this time out. If you like the video, and if you're watching, you should like it. Definitely give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you have not yet. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the dispatch airs live Monday through Thursday nights, it'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my recent review of, I don't know, what am I going to talk about? Which one? Which one am I going to tell you? I got to reach in and grab it, because I started to pull the book out, and it's like, no, I have not reviewed Reign of Terror, because I slipped it under the table. My review of Delta Green Black Sights. Last night I called it Dark Sights, like a doofus. Anyway, this is from Arc Dream Publishing, and definitely liked it. Definitely liked it. So, of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we are looking at, I always pile things up. We're going to be looking at Jackals, the Bronze Age role-playing game from Osprey Publishing. So tune in for that. Thursdays are usually role-playing game shows. Anyway, those of you who are watching live, thank you very much. Always appreciate you spending time with me, as I'm just a goofball pontificating into the ether. But I know a lot of people out there don't have an opportunity to watch live. Maybe you're even watching on Memorex. Thank you to everyone who takes time out to watch any of the videos. I really seriously do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out to check out what's going on with the Dispatch, as well as other goings on with thegaminggang.com. I'll be back tomorrow. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night, Thursday morning, or whatever day this happens to be for you. And of course, as I wrap up all my videos during this never-ending pandemic, I certainly hope all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, If you haven't subscribed to the Gaming Gang channel yet, click right here. If you'd like to see the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, click right up there. And if you want to trust YouTube's algorithm to give you something to watch, click right there. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and everybody please wear a mask.